For years, the Pokémon Center in Hakata Station was widely considered to be the worst Pokémon Center in Japan. And by widely considered, I mean that that's my opinion, and I'm wide. Well, it has officially been relocated, remodeled, and as of this video, reopened. Is it no longer the bottom of the barrel? Let's find out. It could be argued that one of the negative qualities of the old Pokémon Center was a lack of a true mascot. You could say it was Torchic and Pikachu since they've been there the longest. I love Torchic, but it ain't a reddish Gyarados, it ain't Ho-Oh, and it definitely ain't a Kyogre body slamming the ceiling. Well, Fukuoka's new Pokémon Center officially has mascots. Latios and Latios. These are perfect. If you weren't aware, Fukuoka is on the island of Kyushu, which is the inspiration for Hoenn. And having Hoenn legendaries as the mascots for the real-world Hoenn region's only Pokémon Center gives my brain a special kind of endorphin. In fact, a lot of the branding around this center is Hoenn-themed, like Plusle, Minoon, and the Hoenn starters. I don't know if these are my favorite starters of all time, but I genuinely think I love them equally for different reasons. Gun to your head, who's your favorite Hoenn starter? Gun to your head. Leave a comment below. Remember, gun to your head. Because we officially got Latios and Latios as our mascots, that means we're getting Latios and Latios statues. But before I talk about these bad boys, I want to mention the Hoenn-less half of this center's branding. It features quite a bit of Paldean Pokemon, which I could just believe is due to Paldea being the most recent region. But as you walk in, you're greeted with a nice Dondozo statue. It's got its tongue out, displaying the 3 variations of Tatsugiri. It kinda seems like Dondozo and Tatsugiri might be the co-mascots of the center, and I'm all here for it. I don't necessarily have an explanation for this though. If you talk to pretty much any Japanese person, they'll tell you that Fukuoka is famous for its food. But I wouldn't argue that it's well known for its sushi. So, I'm gonna have to do a bit more research to figure out why Dondozo and Tatsugiri are here. Right next to them were some of the exclusive Fukuoka souvenir snacks. And I kinda liked that the Pokemon based around cuisine were next to snacks. But then, past Dondozo and in the middle of the Pokemon Center is our Latios and Latios display. It could bring a tear to my eye. Fukuoka finally has genuinely good statues. Behind them is a screen, which plays a Hoenn-themed video on repeat. I think the statues look great, but I don't necessarily love the monitor. With Latios and Latios being featured on the video in the background, it just kind of seemed weird. I'm wondering how this will change in the future. But for now, I'm just thankful that Fukuoka finally got some cool Pokemon statues. So let's talk about the special goods that can be bought at the Fukuoka Pokémon Center. As someone who's lived here for 8 years, I could kind of guess what we'd be getting for exclusive merchandise. And after seeing what was available, deciding what I wanted to buy was not easy. Arguably, the most famous food in Fukuoka is its ramen. So there are a few goods that tie into ramen. The standout Pokémon Center item was the Latios and Latios chopsticks. I'm virtually a Pokemon food channel at this point, so of course, these were a must. Similarly to how Hiroshima had merchandise that was in collaboration with another brand, so did Fukuoka. They collabed with Ippudo, a pretty famous ramen chain. The main thing that stuck out to me were these bowls for ramen, and yes please, and thank you. There's a red one for Latios and a predominantly white one for Latios. For some reason, the red one was 1,000 yen more expensive, and if you do sort of a 1-to-1 with American money, these bowls cost more than 50 bucks each. They also had this little ladle that's used to drink ramen broth. I asked what it's called in Japanese and the attendant said renge. There were also smaller bowls, probably for children or rice. It makes it sound like I eat children. When I eat ramen, I usually have a side of rice that comes in a bowl that looks like this. This is the kind of exclusive merchandise that I'm talking about. This is what I want, even if it is stupidly expensive. In contrast, let's talk about the exclusive merchandise that I'm not too excited about. But before I do that, if you're enjoying all of this Pokemon Center and Japan talk, then I'd like to ask that you consider subscribing. I try to make bi-weekly content, and it's always something that's related to Pokemon or Japan. I'll also be coming back to this center in a month or so to see if it's changed, so subscribe so you don't miss any of my Pokemon-themed adventures. To tie into ramen was this Hakata Ramen Pikachu t-shirt. I like the Latios and Latios red and blue, but I'm not sure if I could ever wear this. One of the hand towels also features this same Pikachu, and one of the lunch mats as well. They're really milking this design for all it's worth. One of the new plushies was also a ramen shop Pikachu. I'm tempted. I'm so tempted. I just don't want to spend almost 3,000 yen on a Pikachu plushie. Fukuoka ramen is the best ramen I've had in Japan. It's a pork broth, and the noodles, specifically barikata noodles, are the perfect texture. I'm excited to eat it in a video sooner than later. Another Fukuoka reference I'm finding on the merchandise is this Niwaka Senbei mask. I actually don't know too much about this mask, but I'm familiar with its design, and I understand that it's a part of Fukuoka's culture. It's featured on the other Pikachu plush, who seems like he's dressed for Dontaku, which is Fukuoka's yearly Golden Week festival. There's also a Pikachu hair clip collection based on the Niwaka mask. However, this is one of those products that you buy blind, and whichever mask you get is up to fate. Not a fan. There's also kind of this general design that the center has with so many different Fukuoka references on it. I might go over these references in a short because I want a little bit more time to actually look over all of it. This design, much like the Ramen Pikachu, is being used on things like clear files, lunch mats, and hand towels. Full disclosure, I meant to buy the clear files, but completely forgot. I'm hoping they're still there in a month. The Pokémon Center has teamed up with Hakata Sanui to make a few high-quality products, including this Pikachu pouch bag. I'm a flip-flop, but I actually really like this. Maybe it's the back and Pikachu's cute tail, maybe it's the Pokeball on the zipper, I don't know. I just like this, and I honestly considered buying it. There's also this little bag, which I really like. When I showed it to my coworker, she claimed that it was for makeup, but methinks it could hold pocket spaghetti. There's also a tumbler with a very similar design. This is definitely more my style, as I'm 100% sure this could hold pocket spaghetti. And the last thing from Hakata Sanui is this coaster set. I know I have a lot of weird qualities, but I think one of my weirdest qualities is that I love coasters. This is one of the items I stared at for a long time, debating whether or not I should buy. After all, where am I going to put all my beer? And the very last item I want to show off is the Mascot Latios, Latias, and Pikachu plush. This item caught my eye online, and I strongly debated getting it. I think it's well designed, and Pikachu's inclusion didn't necessarily turn me off. But when I think about it, I really wanted Hiroshima's reddish Gyarados plush, but ultimately didn't buy it. And I don't regret that decision. So this is going to be another one of those items that maybe I'll pick up some other day. Other than this, the center had quite a bit of regular Pokemon Center merchandise, like the Pokemon Fits. I checked for a Magikarp plush for my friend Casey. Nothing. I've been collecting starter Pokemon the past couple of months, and this time around, I considered getting one of the Hoenn starters. They only had Trico and Mudkip, and I was actually thinking about getting Torchic, since it kinda got usurped as a mascot. But it didn't appear like it was here. I liked the general ramen motif that the center had going on. I hope this stays like this and doesn't change after the new Pokemon Center smell wears off. I also really liked that the center had a lot of orange. I know it's a weird thing to point out, but so much of the interior design featured orange instead of something like red or black, and it was unique enough for me to notice. The center also wasn't overly crowded except for near the statues. I tried to get some decent shots, but I just don't know if I did. I'm a little biased, but I really love this Pokemon Center. I don't think it's in my S tier, but it's definitely in my A tier, and it's leaps and bounds better than the old center was. I hope it and its current exclusive merchandise are here to stay. Speaking of merchandise, this is all of the stuff I picked up this time around. I would be remiss if I didn't buy a ramen bowl, and if there's a set, I'm gonna buy both. As mentioned, I also had to get the chopsticks, and if I'm gonna be eating ramen with my ramen bowls, I might as well also get the ringe. I forgot to mention this in the script, but yeah, I picked up the tiny bowl. And small correction, this is probably just this bowl is probably for kids. It's probably for rice. Like whenever anyone else looks at this, they say the same thing that I said in the script. But after sort of thinking about it, this is probably also a half ramen size, because in Japan you can order full ramen, you can order half ramen. I would argue this is probably half ramen size. So, quick correction to the actual video itself. But that's not all. I also picked up some of the food, and I'm pretty sure these are two variations of Hakata ramen. If and when I make it, expect a YouTube short. Just like when I went to Hiroshima, I decided to pick up this exclusive pen. This will be staying in its packaging. And the last thing I got was the recently released Pokecology book. I always like learning more about Pokemon, And I'm not sure how much we should trust the Pokédex, as it's written by 10-year-olds and a professor that can't remember his own grandson's name. I'll also be giving this to friends when we go on trips so they could read and study. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and want more, then I'd like to recommend my most recent Johto video. I toured the entire real-world Johto region with my friends and essentially made a movie about it. It's my best video so far, and anyone that donates to my Patreon from now until it releases will be featured in the credits of my complete Hoenn region video. That should be released later this year, and anyone who donates right now can see the extended cut of this video, where I go over the ramen bowls in detail and say the F word. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time.